And we're live. You're listening to the Hashgraph Enthusiast Show.
Hosted by Brandon Davenport, aka It's Brandon D.
Well, okay. Another week in HBAR, Hedera, all that good stuff. An eventful week. There's good news to talk about. It is episode 132. It is Wednesday, July 3rd, and the show is live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on YouTube and X. I'm thinking about streaming to LinkedIn though, but my LinkedIn is all out of date. I don't know if anyone else's LinkedIn is like totally busted right now. I haven't had time to check it out. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. In a little bit, we're going to have May, CEO of HashPack, coming by the show. And we'll also have Warlock and Key stopping by. He's got something to tell us about. So it should be a good show. Make sure to, if you're watching now, make sure to give it a share. Leave a comment if you've got something to let me know about. I'm glad people like the music. That was actually I put that music together for the show. I was in my bed on GarageBand putting it together and everything. So I got to update it though. It says like, listen to the show, but that was when the show was audio only. So now I got to change it to watch or something. So we'll figure it out. I also got to update the website. The list keeps growing. So I'm going to dive into some stuff right here. And the theme of this show, obviously, as you saw, the title, opportunity cost. This is a great term, I think, that kind of touches on a lot of stuff that's happening in the ecosystem. There's been a lot of conversation, a lot of noise, also too, a lot of signal, and I think that what we're arriving at and kind of grappling with, I think, as a community and as an ecosystem is opportunity cost, right? And opportunity cost is defined as, actually I posted a tweet right here about it. Opportunity cost is the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. And that's just kind of the thing. And the point here is, as many have observed in the Hedera ecosystem, we're like, Hedera isn't focusing on retail enough, or we got to do more marketing, or we got to do more of this. So that's a narrative that's been happening for a long time, like potentially months or years. And so the antidote to that is change, right? Change in leadership, change in focus, better communication. I mean, Jake had a great piece. Warlock and Key had a great piece on the HBAR Bulls show, the last episode. I'd encourage people to go check it out. And he talked about communication, the importance of that. And that's what it's really about. And I think what it boils down to is, leadership at Hedera, the governing council, this and that, just not really recognizing the opportunity here. I truly believe the most underutilized asset in Web3 by far is the Hedera community. And time again, even though people are like, things in Hedera, the sentiment is down and things are difficult, the thing that I keep hearing time and time again is folks that go to other networks and embed themselves in other communities, start building on other networks. They just keep saying, the Hedera community is just so knowledgeable, so in depth. There's a stickiness to it. People are here truly because they have passion. And so I think that it really is time for leadership to take the blinders off and recognize the opportunity here and fully leverage what's here. And we'll talk about that a bit. But first, I wanted to just dive into some pretty cool updates from the ecosystem before we have some folks call in and join the show. One of those was actually a response to one of my posts. Look, there I am. Hello. PixFi did their mint, their INO, and obviously I had to do it on the show because it happened at the same time of the show. But they actually responded, PixFi, they said, the purchase flow fully supports Chrome extension wallets. The team is pushing for more comprehensive support this week. So that's kind of improving. It was very interesting to kind of see the ability to purchase these NFTs minted on Hedera through Phantom Wallet or MetaMask or HashPack or whatever it might be via WalletConnect. And for early adopters, we're going to bring the token faucet up earlier and boost the supply. So they're saying stay tuned for more details. And I'd say stay tuned. I haven't had enough coffee today. Stay tuned for updates from PixFi. That's very interesting. Also, not super like relevant, but I mean, governing council member, a little concerned. Apparently the U.S. Justice Department will criminally charge Boeing with fraud over 2 fatal crashes. So I hope that their attendance to governing council meetings stays good. I mean, Boeing has been one of the most OG kind of like highly attended governing council members. I'm pretty sure they've contributed to like some really core aspects of the network. But it's not, stuff is tough at Boeing. And one of the themes with Boeing that sticks with me is, and one of the key criticisms about Boeing recently is that they were a really engineering tech focused company over the decades, but they changed into when they merged, they've just changed into a more financially driven company. So it's like a different company. So interesting stuff happening. When I say interesting, maybe we won't have a criminal organization on the governing council. I hope that works out. Anyways, peace and love, Boeing. Also, something that I thought was pretty cool to see. This is just, I was scrolling through my feed. I saw this, don't quite know what to make of it yet. As we know, like we don't really know what this is actually going to translate into, but when we talk about breadcrumbs and rumors and these different types of things, we talk about Chainlink. One of the big, criticisms of Chainlink on the governing council is, well, here's a governing council member that is a giant in the space for oracles. And one of the things that has slowed the rollout of borrowing and lending and different things like that on Hedera is oracles. We haven't had those. So I know we've got Supra and we've got another oracle provider. I can't remember, but we've got oracles coming into Hedera now, which is great. But the question has remained, Chainlink, governing council member, are we going to have a Chainlink, oracle service? And so what this H Barbarian posts to X is it looks like Hedera is finally going to get Chainlink oracles. And what they're referencing is some updates on GitHub, right? And as most folks know that are in the software development space, GitHub is the home for any software development. So they're developing their software, and there's a pull request here for shipping Hedera. So basically with these screenshots, it's starting to show Hedera related activity in the Chainlink repository. And this is stuff that's pretty fresh. This isn't stuff that's, that's just kind of popped up. That has been kind of brewing for a bit. This is kind of some fresh activity, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. So we'll have to see, but definitely some developments in regards to, rumors and breadcrumbs. It's good to see. Something that is not rumor or breadcrumb is SaucerSwap listing announcement for Gate.io, July 12th. This is very exciting. This is a tier 1 exchange, and this is a trend we're starting to see with HTS tokens, whether they're meme tokens or utility focused tokens or whatever it might be, platform tokens. We're starting to see the groundwork being laid for those assets to be listed on these major, as in this case, tier 1 centralized exchanges. And then also, it's going to be great to see some of these things starting to roll out to, DEXs on other networks. So we've really gone from 0 to 60 with DeFi in regards to all the different things we have at our disposal. And this right here is very exciting because a lot of these listings that we're seeing for these exchanges, in many cases, I don't know if this is the case for Gate.io, but in many cases, these listings are the first time these exchanges are integrating the Hedera token service, right? A native Hedera coin. And basically what that means is some heavy lifting is getting out of the way. So it's like, cutting through the jungle, blazing a trail. So SaucerSwap is out here blazing a trail. And of course, once this integration is done, subsequent listings will be easier from a technical standpoint for the exchange. So that stuff is really, really, really cool to see. I love that. Another great update that just came out yesterday that I've had the pleasure of working on with wallets across the ecosystem, HashPack, Kabila, Blade Wallet, also various teams and developers and dApps, is WalletConnect. And the headline here is we've got a new version of WalletConnect available now on NPM. So developers can go and they can, update to this new version of WalletConnect. And this update is really cool because it adds the new iframe functionality. This is going to add the capabilities required to enable communication between a wallet extension and a dApp embedded in an iframe. So that was a really great update, and I would just want to give a huge shout out to the whole WalletConnect working group. I think that was great, and again, I'd encourage any developer, anyone curious, in that stuff, create a GitHub account. If you don't have one, dive in, join the conversation. These types of community initiatives are how you can shape the network, right? And what we'll do here is I'm actually pretty excited because we have May calling in today, CEO of HashPack. And I've got a couple more news items to talk about. But what I want to do is I kind of want to steer it into this conversation. And I think that I don't think that I've had May on the show before or ever. So this is really cool. So we've got May joining. May, I'm going to bring you up. And it is very, very good to have you on the show. And like I said, I can't recall if I've had you on the show, but welcome. And how's everything going in HashPack land?
Yeah, HashPack's great. Yeah, I've never been on the show before. Seeing you do it, I didn't actually realize that you just had people hop up. And so reached out to you and you said just hop in. So here I am. HashPack is great. We are so busy and we have so many things going on at the same time. So yeah, lots to talk about.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's true. I switched the show from Twitter Spaces to like this new platform. And so I've been kind of learning like, how do I open up that door for folks to come in and figuring out those new systems. But yeah, if just a reminder for everybody, you can, call the show hashgraph.news/call into the show. But I do think that like for a long time, people were using Twitter Spaces, and now this is kind of some new stuff everyone's getting used to. I noticed so many people doing video streams now, so it's pretty great. And when we look at one thing I was just talking about was, we've seen SaucerSwap. They announced that they're going to be listed in Gate.io July 12th, and I know that GRELF is working on that. And just out the gate, in this conversation that we've been seeing with, enterprise versus retail and opportunity cost in the ecosystem, if we really look at stuff, there's so much progress being made by the retail ecosystem. And a big topic has been the accessibility of not only HBAR, but all these other coins that we've been having. And maybe from your perspective, being a wallet and really seeing these activities, what impact do you think this is going to have on the ecosystem, kind of almost flipping this switch and having these HTS coins in tier one exchanges?
It's absolutely huge, right? If people don't see it, then they don't find out about it. They don't care about it. Even if someone was to show them HBAR, if they can't buy it in the place that they usually buy it, then what's going to happen is they're just going to be like, oh, that's cool. I guess I am never going to get it because I only go on Binance or something. that was one of the big things we wanted to do with Pack. And like, we're not the first token by any means, but we worked really hard to launch with 2 centralized exchanges on launch day, and then shortly thereafter added Gate. And we're so happy to see other projects getting success in the centralized exchanges and getting token listings. And I think that this is how we're building that flywheel, right? This is where we're getting the ball rolling. We're building momentum. We're saying, hey, look at all of the success that projects are having in the space. You can come in and invest in them, or you can come in and make your own project, and you have a track record of projects that you can follow through and be like, this is how I'm going to get onto MEXC. This is how I'm going to get onto BitGet. So yeah, it's really, really good. One of the projects that I really like that is kind of underplayed is C14, and how you can buy HTS tokens directly in HashPack or on their website for credit card. And that it doesn't have a lot of volume per se, like most people just buy HBAR, but the fact that you can do it and the fact that people are doing it is huge, because now people are going to get more into it, more used to it. And then this is where you can start really building utility for tokens when people can actually get them. So yeah, that's huge.
I love that. And on the topic too, like blazing a trail, removing barriers, because you're right. It's like once the first few can get past that threshold, it's gonna be easier for others. Maybe just for the other projects out there that maybe have tokens and are the reality is that if you do a token on Hedera, you are limited to this ecosystem, and it can be a little small in some ways. And the dream is for all these projects to break out beyond that. And like you said,
Absolutely.
be more accessible. And so from your experience going through this process as kind of a trailblazer with the Pack token, to all the other projects out there that are trying to, execute on this type of thing, like, are there any like learnings or pitfalls or advice that you could kind of, highlight for some of those projects?
Absolutely. And actually, I say Pack is a trailblazer, but people like Sauce was listed on MEXC from the beginning too, and they've been out for what, 2 years now.
Right.
We're not the first HTS token. We're just trying to keep pushing things forward. And so our team actually really talked a lot with the SaucerSwap team. We modeled our tokenomics a lot after their model because it works so well. We talked a lot about the logistics and about the smart contracts and about how to get listed on exchanges. And there's so much information to figure out when you're launching a token. And you kind of, if you try to do it all yourself and like just read up on it, you're going to miss things. I think it's just that complicated of a process. So the thing that I will tell people if they're coming into the ecosystem is join our communities, join our builders, and ask, make friends with SaucerSwap, make friends with HashPack, make friends with Headstarter, who also has a history of launching tokens, right? And are helping Bonzo with their token launch as well. And also, I believe their centralized exchange listings. And this is really important that, we have this community of people who are experienced, who are helping the community, who want to help the community. Go reach out and become part of that community.
100%. I think that's the key, is like what it really boils down to is that, like, one thing I was talking about before you popped on is like the thing that I consistently hear, despite people being like, oh, sentiment's low or whatever, is that people will compare the Hedera ecosystem to others and say like the knowledge here, the stickiness, the loyalty, and the passion is just so strong that you're right. It's like sometimes the answer to most things in this ecosystem is like, just reach out to people. And together you can kind of be a little stronger with that. And it kind of ties into, what kind of, I think, has been on people's minds right now with this, with the conversations we've all been seeing. You put out a great post, but almost like this push and pull, right, between enterprise and retail, and what's more important, and do we go for this or do we go for that? And in my mind, it's actually been really cool to see these projects and kind of the retail ecosystem on Hedera coming together a little bit and really kind of finding that page to get on. And I was really curious, from your perspective, and you have so many touch points with people throughout the ecosystem. Obviously the last month has been, energetic in the Hedera ecosystem, and kind of from your perspective after really seeing so many of these things play out, and kind of where we are now and looking forward to the second half of the year. I'm really curious to kind of hear like where your head is at, what you're observing, the kind of things that you're trying to impress upon people, and some of that direction that we're finding. I'm curious to see where your head is at.
Yeah, I definitely saw the drama coming beforehand. It actually, if you've been in the space, it's actually been boiling under the surface for quite a while, because there's a lot of things, just like in any ecosystem, where there's things that you wish that were different and you want to change. And I've been in chats with ecosystem leaders and HBAR Foundation and Hedera, and I try to bring up topics that I think are relevant or important. A big one that happened earlier this year / late last year was talking with the foundation about mirror nodes and how important they are to support them, because in 2023, I believe, LedgerWorks was our mirror node for HashPack, and they left the ecosystem. And then Archaea came in, and that Archaea team was great, and we worked really well with them. But I said to the foundation, we need infrastructure here, and having a team that we rely on leave the ecosystem is no good. And if Archaea leaves as well, like one day, and we replace it with someone else, we're just losing information. So how do we keep that sticky? How do we keep people in? And now I think we have Validation Cloud, which came in December, and they're excellent. Actually, we're very, very happy with them. We have is it Hgraph that we're using now as our backup?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And Archaea is sort of coming in, but it was a business decision for us to move to Validation Cloud. But we still have a really great relationship with Archaea and the BCW team. But basically, there were issues that I thought were happening around the mirror nodes, and so I brought that up. And that's just one example. But the drama that happened last month or over the last month is another one that kind of people have been sort of aware of. And then there was just one catalyst that kind of dropped it into the community conscious, and everybody got up in arms and angry, and just said, well, but we want to know what's going on. We want to have some say in how this ecosystem runs. We want to be heard, right? And I think that was really the gist of it, is that there are people in the community who feel like they aren't being listened to. And that is a terrible, terrible thing to feel like when you're here participating, building, and you feel like the people at the top are not listening. And I'm not going to comment on really the validity of it, because the validity of the arguments and the discussion points isn't what matters to me. What matters is how people feel, right? How we as a community feel about our connection to Hedera and Swirls, and how we can make it better. And I think that after all of this has blown over, and it's still kind of, people are still upset, people are still talking about it, but there's no longer that kind of anger and rage that was just directed at everyone. People are now sitting back and saying, okay, there is a problem, but how do we fix it? Who are the people that we can talk to that are listening? And what are the steps that we can do to make a meaningful change in the ecosystem, so that when things kick off, we're going to be there, we're going to be doing great, because we don't want to just sit around and complain about why things are bad all day. We want to make changes so that things are good and that we're happy. And that's really what we want at the end of the day. So I think that this kind of loosening, the breaking of the seal and letting all the pressure out was inevitable. But I think now that people have cooled off, we can now take steps into saying, okay, let's keep up the pressure, but let's do it in a measured way, a professional way. Let's show the importance of what we're talking about to the leaders of this ecosystem. And we are. And let's just move forward and make things better, right? And I think that that's where we're at right now.
100%. If, in my mind, something that always comes to my mind is like, if I hear the words chicken and egg again, I'm going to go nuts, because at some point you just have to do it. And to your point, with mirror nodes and I work at Hgraph, which is a mirror node provider, and the key thing with any part of this ecosystem is there's a direct correlation between like attention and the amount of support it receives. And I think that that's where I don't know if the Hedera community realizes how powerful they are, right? If you can really demonstrate the value of things for people and get that attention, I really think that this community, when it finds that focus, can really move the needle in ways that I don't even think they understand. And just that for me is the most exciting thing, because I think that from the noise, we can find this signal. Like there is so much energy in what's been happening, and starting to see that bit of focus is really amazing. And then even pulling back a bit, like we have seen recently.
It happens everywhere.
It happens. This is just an industry thing. Like, we see these headlines, Polkadot with the, the controversy of the marketing spend, and we've seen tweets from all these people and everything. So there are these issues across other networks. And I think that, really it's about the original ethos of Hedera of like, what can we do to be the best that we can be? And I think that what that requires is, Hedera, the governing council, really leveraging fully the resources that they have. And like I was saying, one of the most underutilized resources that they have is this community.
Sure.
And it's been really great to see folks starting to break through. Like I know that, Rob Allen, who does the Shark Bites bits, it's great to see breaking through that way, where we've got a governing council member reaching out to the community. But then he also talked about members of the Hashgraph DeFi Alliance going to present at the governing council and sharing the sentiment that the governing council was kind of surprised or, oh, wow, what's going on? So we're starting to see those things happen. And I think that for a lot of people, the opinion is, it's too late or it's this or that. But from your stance, when we talk about being bullish on Hedera or anything like that, from the bullish or bearish needle, I think you kind of share my sentiment of like, I'm pretty excited about what's ahead.
I'm very optimistic. I think that we have a really great momentum building up this summer. The overall sentiment across Web3 is just down. That's just how it is. The economy is down. Everybody is bearish. Money is expensive, so you can't invest it in risky things like crypto. And so everybody is just down, but sentiment can flip on a dime. It's crazy. So that's what we're waiting for, or that's what we're not waiting for, but that's what we're building for, right? And I think that as a community, the things that are going to move the needle, as it were, and get people interested and start getting adoption of Hedera, which I hate using that word because it's so cliche, but is just spreading the word of the things that are exciting on the network, things that you are super happy about, things that that you are engaged in, because that's what drives people to come in, is that energy and that excitement. The Karate Combat advertising that we get from just being in the pit with our logo, and my match in Karate Combat, which spawned a ton of memes, has brought so many people into Hedera that never knew about Hedera before, and they're Karate Combat fans, or they saw that Karate Combat is related to crypto, and then they're like, wait, but it's connected to Hedera, and now they're in our community and they're learning about us and they're getting excited. That's going to be way more effective than if somebody comes into the ecosystem and hears that marketing spend has gone through the roof and hasn't produced results, and we're so mad at these people and these guys are scammers and stuff. Those things exist for sure, but let's put the spotlight on the things that matters, right? Why would you give your podium to somebody who's just going to trash talk when you could give the podium to people who are actually doing good things and building and being excited? And you know what? You're going to feel better as a community member at the end of the day if you can just hang out with people who are like that, right? And so that's really what I'm trying to impress on people. That's really the energy that I try to push in the community. Here's this project that I just heard of on Twitter. Let's retweet it. Let's talk to the person. Let's see what they're up to. Oh, you're just doing an art project, but you're making every single one of your NFTs unique instead of doing the whole traits thing because you want to tell a story. Fantastic. That's is it going to make a ton of money? No, but that creator doesn't want to make a ton of money. but they're just enjoying themselves. That's great, right? And then you have our 3 lending protocols that are coming in really fast at the same time, right? Bonzo, Serio, and HLiquidity. And it's like, how can you not see that there's a momentum of building on Hedera, people coming in, people getting excited. And also, just as another note, people will build where they see things that they relate to. So like, you're not going to come into the Hedera ecosystem and be like, I'm just going to make this random thing that nobody's ever made. You're going to look at Karate Combat and you're going to say, they built a really cool voting and community mechanism and a way of making it really easy to onboard into the ecosystem. I need to copy that. I need to do that. You know, PixFi launched last week with their cross-chain INO, not INO, but Founders Token, I think.
Yeah, Founders Token.
Purchases, and you could buy with your, you could buy a Polygon NFT, a Solana NFT, an Ethereum NFT, and a Hedera NFT, and you could buy it with any of those L1 tokens on their platform, and it just works. And it's like, it was seamless. It was really good. So I went and I bought a few of them with HBAR, because HBAR is just a lot easier, right? And PixFi is actually built on Hedera because the minting fees are just so much cheaper here and easier to use. And one day they're going to allow you to export your NFTs into a non-custodial wallet. And if you want to export from PixFi into HashPack, then it's going to be super cheap. And if you want to export from PixFi into MetaMask on Ethereum, you're going to have to pay that gas cost. So, you know, these kind of things are just really exciting to see people innovating and bringing new features into the network. And we need to get excited about that.
100%. Like, I think that you can all, like, what you're getting at too is almost flipping it a little bit, where we see the criticism towards Hedera and these organizations from the community saying, you need to pay more attention to what's happening. You need to access the projects that are generating revenue from the network, right? Enterprise isn't really generating a ton of revenue.
Sure.
You need to focus on what's happening right now. But if we flip that, we kind of go, well, what if we do those things, right? What if we could encourage more folks that are just holding HBAR to dive into this ecosystem? What if we were more vocal about and knowledgeable about all the things happening? And I'm just as guilty with this show. There was the first 100 episodes of this show, there wasn't an episode where I wasn't like looking at some PR Newswire article that everyone else was looking at.
Yep.
And I think that many of the criticisms that I will and others will levy at these organizations, you also have to remember that, we do mimic a lot of the behavior. We do look for leadership. We look to Manson, Lehman and stuff, but at a certain point you have to start breaking the cycles because the industry changes, right?
You have to be the leader.
Exactly. And I think that that's really how I'm trying to look at it, is like, can I demonstrate the behavior I want to see?
Yes.
And if we're going to talk about some vacuum of leadership and waiting for change, it's like, the reality might be that the community is getting more and more leadership.
We're the captain now. Look at, we're the captain now.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. And it's exciting because that's the process of decentralization. I'm always a big believer that with these networks, the people that utilize it the most will come to control it, whether it's on chain or just sentiment or whatever it is. But we're starting to see this community really starting to get more control. And I think that being responsible and staying focused on the substance and kind of taking those core values and applying it to the retail space, I'm seeing some really good things happen.
And the thing is, like, we kind of try to, or we kind of have this idea that enterprise versus retail is this big divide. And that maybe that's the sentiment that the community feels, is that Hedera is enterprise focused and they're not retail focused, and all of their resources are going into enterprise. And the thing that I've learned, and this is talking to people from all over, even inside of Swirls, is that enterprise is actually just the same as retail in terms of how they adopt technology, except that they're just much slower, far, far slower. But if they see cool things being built on the network, if they see adoption and users on the network, they are more likely to build on us, just like any retail project is more likely to build on us, right? If somebody makes a coffee a coffee-based startup where they're selling coffee online for HBAR, right? And you can stake that coffee coin. I'm talking about a specific project actually called Kona, because that guy is great and he's just doing it out of his love for Hedera. But he sells coffee and he roasts it in Hawaii, and he is like he just I just put an order into him and I get coffee from Hawaii, and it's fantastic. And he's in the HBAR community, and someone can look at that project and say like, well, okay, here's a model of how I can sell my real world asset and also do something in the token space that is just like actually very simple. And then an enterprise comes in and says, okay, well, then here's this other retail project that has integrated with WordPress. And now you can just like have a store online that you can buy using HTS tokens. And you know, you don't have to worry about whatever random things, right? How can we do that? Or points, the point system that Patches made with HTS 20, I'm looking into that now too. That takes away the risk of all of the speculation and stuff, because there's no token behind it, and that's very attractive to legal sensitive enterprise teams. These are all retail things that show what you can do on the network. And guess what? Enterprise has retail users too, right? They touch retail. It's not just people in a server scanning barcodes all day in an enterprise format, right? You've got Starbucks, you've got Nike, you've got NBA, Top Shot, that are all doing retail facing apps, and those are enterprise projects, right? Those are enterprise companies that are looking into Web3. And how do you attract them onto your network? You attract them by having retail activity. No one's going to build on Hedera if they don't see that anybody's using it. Like, why would you? It doesn't make any sense, right? So enterprise and retail, actually quite similar. The players are different. The needs are different because they think much larger and they're much slower. They're much conservative, but you're going to attract somebody in the enterprise space by welcoming them into the community, by being excited, by showing them this is so cool. And then they can go back to their teams and disseminate that into their companies, instead of, oh, and here's just another platform XYZ that does this for you, except it's a little bit more complicated and more expensive because it's not Web 2, right? So yeah, we're definitely on a good track here, and just pushing this vibe of innovation and excitement and building, I think is really the best thing as a community that we can do.
100%. And I think you hit on something really important where I think, you know, the biggest myth in this ecosystem right now is it's this choice between enterprise and retail. And I was on a Spaces a while ago, just listening into Spaces that Charles, the president of Hedera, was on. And he was asked the question, you know, what are we going to see first in Hedera, retail adoption or enterprise adoption? And this is recorded Spaces, you know, you can go and listen to it and find out. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but he said something to the effect of, retail is required to get enterprise, right? And he really explained that in his history. And I mean, you mentioned a few, like Nike and a few places that I think he actually was at. So he understands, I think, both ends. And what he's saying is like how this works is it is these small startups, these small projects, retail that blazes the trail.
Absolutely.
And those companies, you know, get acquired by enterprises along the way, gobble them up along the way.
Yes.
And very interestingly too, a trend that I'm noticing now that generally happens in these valleys of this industry is there's a new, I'll call it project, that's called TokenVest, that actually is Scott Thiel's new project. And Scott Thiel was at DLA Piper, and Ian Putter has left Standard Bank and has joined TokenVest. So there also is this like inverse effect that we see commonly in the technology industry of people leaving established companies to start and form startups to enter that front of the pack.
Absolutely.
And many times getting reacquired by their own company. We saw this with Steve Jobs and different things. So there's these movements happening.
Well, because if you're in an enterprise team and you're pushing the company strategy, you don't have that agency usually to do the things that are cool. You have, and you know what, when you're in an enterprise, you have clients who are like, we need this token product. and nobody's building it. Can you build it? And that person goes to the enterprise and they said, well, we've got clients that want this product. Can we do it? And they're like, we don't have that sort of thing on our roadmap. We can't do it. But if you spin out and you launch your own thing, we'll support you, right? It might not be in an official capacity, but they'll provide the help, because they're, enterprise people are just people, right? They're just part of the team. They might not be able to help you as a company, but they could help you personally. They could get you set up with the right contacts, and you start your company, and now you're out the door with some developers and maybe some money because you get some seed capital, and now you're doing token vest with your buddies from your enterprise job, but you're in a startup, right? And this is good. This is how, like, they're coming from a high friction environment, and they're moving into low friction where they can build. And that's what a startup, that's the strength of a startup, is you're not buried by bureaucracy and legal and all of this kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about, like, if the bigger that HashPack gets, the more that we have to think about, well, if we make a mistake on the legal side, we are now risking billions of dollars of funds. When we were at 6 months into the thing, and we were just selling, not selling, but doing a wallet for friends, the most that people could lose was in like a few 10,000s, 100,000s. And yeah, at the time that was huge. But you come in and everybody understands that they're going to take a risk, and you kind of know, because it's a small community, that if it does happen, at least you did your best and people understand that. But as we move up, it gets slower and slower to make these big changes. We have to make a lot more decisions based on the potential risk, and that slows us down. And so you multiply that by 100 to an enterprise that is one of the Fortune 500s, and no wonder they can't move quickly, because if something screws up on the token side, that could have rippling effects across the whole organization. So startup, and then as a community, make sure you support them, right?
Yes.
Hey, you were at this GC. That's fantastic. And you're doing this now. Let's learn about you. Let's get you into the community. Let's invite you into Discord and Twitter Spaces. Let's get excited about your project and help you out, right? That's what the energy that we should see, because you know what? Then the next enterprise guy who has an idea might just come and join our community too.
I love that. And I think you hit on something really important where, the fact is we're all just people, and being in business, it's like, generally, if you're in a risky industry, you want to work with people that you know. And you want to go into areas that everyone is really trying to mitigate that risk. And I think that's when we look at the question that's commonly raised in Hedera, which is like, well, why is Starbucks building on Solana? Or why is this project doing this on Ethereum? Yeah. It's really what it comes down to is the people steering the ship at these enterprises, when they want to push forward one of these initiatives and they need to figure out what network to build on, they're going to build on the network that the Web3 guy in the CTO's office recommends, or they're going to build on the network that the board is invested in or whatever. Sure. And that is kind of like the secret sauce here is, what can we do to connect with those people, right?
We actually are. I would say, like, so many times we've heard that there are projects that are in big companies that have those decision makers that are really excited about Hedera, really excited about Hedera. And they're going to their teams and they're saying, hey, we need to build on this network, not Polygon, not Solana or whatever, because Hedera is where it's at. And then the board or their boss or whatever that they report to are like, okay, but what the heck is Hedera? I don't know about this. Do your research, give me a presentation and get back to me. And in the meantime, we've got like 3 other people over there that are familiar with Solana or whatever. And, they've got more users and more money. So doesn't that make more sense? And the guy's like, but Hedera, and they keeps pushing it, right? I've seen this so many times. And sometimes the Hedera guy actually gets some traction and they start trying to build. And that's where you see some of the bigger projects that have been in the background that people are excited about. They come out of that kind of enthusiasm. So it's not that we don't have it. We have it. It happens everywhere, right? So, one day maybe we do land on Nike or an Adidas or something like that, right? There are people who are like just in the marketing side that have worked with these giant brands. And it's just a matter of when do the when do the roads meet up and we can push something for that brand in the Web3 space and recommend Hedera and they'll go for it, right? The potential is there.
Oh, 100%. And that's a great point. Is I like, I think it's clear that stuff is happening, and where my brain goes is like, how can we make more of that happen? And I think that's where the loop comes together of what we're talking about today is highlighting these things and getting that access, getting these HTS listings and growing that visibility and growing that footprint. That's what makes it easier for those tastemakers and advocates inside of those enterprises to say, look at this, like, look at all this stuff happening. And I think that that's really what we can make happen is what can we do to connect with those tastemakers, embrace this community, and then again, give them that firepower to, pack their presentation for their boss and say, look at all of this incredible stuff. And you're right. We're on track for that. And I think that that's really when we loop back into this conversation about opportunity cost. It's like, you've done such a great job of highlighting the opportunity right there. And then the question comes back onto Hedera and the governing council and organizations to go, what can we do to supercharge this? What can we do to get this ecosystem, as Rob Allen would say, fit for purpose?
Yeah.
And what is the purpose? And I think that now that we're really drilling things down, that's, I think, where you and I get that kind of really optimistic sense from, is like, okay, now we're, as the kids say, cooking, you know what I mean? Like, now we got some stuff going on. And maybe what I would say is, from a project perspective, you as the CEO of HashPack, and thinking about trends, something I often bring up in the conversations around like, we need change, is I try to remind people that, last summer, the governing council put out a committee to find a new president, right? And Charles Atkins was brought on. And as you've highlighted, there's a lot of faith being put in Charles. And I think that there's a lot of positivity. And I think it's totally reasonable for a year to go by of trying to figure out what the new strategy looks like and kind of put something in place. And the signals, right? Yeah. And and I think psychologically, and all of the signals we've been receiving is, and people have said this either on the governing council or in projects, is like, this next 6 months for Hedera really is the make or break time. And I feel pretty optimistic. And from your perspective, I would maybe say, as someone deeply embedded in the ecosystem, through these next 6 months, what do you kind of see happening? Like, what do you feel is going to, get us there? What do you like? Do you feel really, really confident in what this new plan could look like? And do you really, how much, this is the other question, is as we push more towards aligning with retail, do you think there's going to be backlash from certain HBAR holders of like, no, we don't want retail, almost like these kind of anti-retail HBAR holders,
I think let's do the last one because that's easy first.
Yeah.
You're always going to have backlash. People are passionate and they have ideas of how things are supposed to be, and they have things that they like and they have things they don't like. So I think just knowing that there's going to be different voices and just saying, like, everybody's opinion is valid, even if I don't agree with it, but at least I'm going to listen and I'm going to then go and do my thing. Like, there's no need to kind of get upset about people and argue with them on their viewpoint when you could just be focusing on your thing. And those guys who are focused on their HBAR holdings and stuff, and that's how they want to, where they think success is going to be, they can go off on that path. And people who are doing the retail side, they can go off, or the DeFi side, they can go off on that path, right? You don't need to waste your energy on things that you can't change. And I think that this is also my answer to the first part of that question, which is, okay, so Charles is here and we have a lot of faith in him to do what we need on the Hedera side and on the Swirl side and on the GC side. And that is a world that we as community have never been a part of in the history of Hedera. And you know what? It might not even be important to be a part of it as long as the leadership is good, right? Like, nobody cares about the leaders if they're doing what you need to do. Right. But like, there are lots of positive things that we can do to change things, like open up dialogues, get in conversations, get the UGC more involved or more aware of what's going on in retail. But that's not something that we can change. And so the only thing that I can do with Charles is, talk to him every so often when I can, or tweet at him with something positive or something that I think he should know. Not tweet at him saying, why haven't you gotten results?
Right.
Because like, is that really gonna ever help? Or like you said you were working on this 3 months ago and we haven't heard anything. Well, you know what? Probably because he's still working on it. But it's not gonna, like, pointing that out to somebody why you haven't done your job isn't really going to help, and it's going to cause a little bit of unhappiness. And you don't really have, as a community member looking in, you don't really have the optics of what's happening. So instead of holding people accountable like that, hold them accountable by trusting that they're going to do what they can, but giving them the information so that they can perform their job. And this is something that we as a community have agency over. We have the ability to start talking about the things that are important to us, the things that we think are good, the things that we think are excited about. And yes, there's also things that we're critical about that we should also bring up, but bring it up in a constructive way. Absolutely. And then as we move forward into the next 6 months, you say it's make or break. I think that every 6 months is kind of a make or break, like we're a startup culture. We're a Web3 culture. We're leading edge tech. We can't sit around and twiddle our fingers. We have to move. We have to build. And if you don't, you end up just petering out and, becoming a bystander. So we have to move. We have to do things as an ecosystem. And I've never felt stronger about that, I guess. So maybe the next 6 months are make or break. Certainly we want to hit this next bull market whenever it hits. Though we'd have no control over it. So if we have no control over it, there's no point in getting upset about it, in my opinion. So what can we change? What do we have control over? We have control over our sentiment, our mood. We have control over how we present ourselves to the outside world. We have control over the projects that we're building and the projects that we're supporting. And we have control over our relations with ourselves as a community, and leaning on each other, working together, collaborating, and just making sure that everybody is moving together in the same direction. I think that the more that we can do to unite the community, to get people involved and use their passions and, engage with people, I think the stronger our community will be, and we will outpace other L1s for sure, because we've got a really, really solid base here. So, as a community member, if you're building, then just build the best thing that you can and get people excited about what you're building. And if you are not a builder and you're just here because you love the community, you love Hedera, find things that you're excited about and just spread that. And then find friends who you want to talk to about it, and, make a little community yourself and talk to people about that. And like, I think it's going to be much more rewarding than raging on Twitter about the latest scandal, if you take that approach as a community member. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really raised a good point about, startup mentality, startup culture, and, Hedera really being framed as the 100-year company. And you kind of go, what if the goal was to be the 6-month company? What if the goal was to really thrive and take advantage of everything we have right now, not maybe think so much in hypothetical terms or where we will be one day, or a notion of we will have some kind of special path or special secret sauce that will allow us to avoid all the pitfalls every other network has experienced on their way to the top 5. I think that really it's about just understanding that attitudes change, the knowledge changes, and the HBAR I was, years ago, it's very different to the HBAR I am now. And it's just being willing to change and say like,
sure.
That wasn't the right way to do things. There's a new way to do things.
Yeah.
I love that aspect of it, that startup culture, really Hedera embracing the fact that in reality, they are just a small startup crypto project in beta. And that's actually really cool. And there's a ton of advantages that come with that versus being some kind of behemoth.
Yep. And I mean, I think that the idea of a 100-year company doesn't conflict with that.
Sure.
Because we are landing enterprise deals. We are addressing real problems that enterprise needs. Not we as in the retail community, we're not doing that, but Hedera is definitely building out tools and relationships that that are helping out with these logistics companies and these sustainability companies and all of this. Like they're that let us build those tools that they need, but that is slow in coming, right? And that's going to take a long time. But when that comes, it's going to be fantastic for everybody. And then you'll be like, well, now there's Hedera Retail and Hedera Enterprise. There's it's not just a niche community anymore. It's a backbone of the internet, of a part of the internet, right? And how do you get there? You get there by having that vision and then pushing towards it. And on our side, that vision is the retail side.
Absolutely. May, this has just been great chatting with you. And I think, you know, I really hope a lot of people kind of take this message, because I think that, you know, there's been, like, again, there's been a lot of noise, there's been a down sentiment, but when you actually talk with people like May, right, that are, you know, running these major projects in this ecosystem, these major retail projects, it's a bit of a different story. And there is a lot of optimism, and there is a lot of excitement and hope for the future. And that's really what this is all about. That's why I love this show, is that, you know, as I go throughout my week and I'm reading the feed, and I get sadder and sadder, and then I start, you know, ship posting on the weekend. You connect with people and you have a conversation. You go, hey, wait a minute. Things aren't all bad. And that's really what this is about. I think this is a time where we really have to come together. We got to work together, and we gotta really, you know, appreciate the fact that although there needs to be more focus on retail, I mean, Hedera's kind of got enterprise on lock in a lot of ways. And that's a really cool thing to know. And yes, it's going to take time. Yes, we've got to be patient. Yes, it might be years until we see that adoption, but a solid foundation is there. And clearly there's a desire for change. There is change happening. And now's not the time for waiting. Now's the time to go, okay, let's just do more. It's not about choosing one or the other. It's like, let's just do more. We're capable of more, you know?
Do the things that we can. And also, if your feed is full of sad things, maybe you should start blocking some things or muting or whatever. Because you ain't got no time for that, you know? Focus on the things that are positive and going in the direction that you want to do, right?
100%. No, that's a great point. And I think unfortunately that was the case for a lot of people. And when I say scrolling through a feed, I mean just scrolling through my own personal tweets.
Right. Your feed. Oh, so maybe you got to block yourself. Sorry.
That's the solution. I got to block myself on Twitter.
Sorry to say that.
Oh man. Okay. I got to do that when I'm done the show. But no, seriously, May, like, I really appreciate you stopping by. I can't believe I haven't had you on the show yet, but for anyone listening, I mean, that's really the message here is things are actually pretty optimistic. And I think that when we frame, and when I see the framing of the next 6 months being make or break out there, I think the reality of what that means is people are energized and the community feels as though they're in control, and there's a little bit of pressure on, but I think that's a good pressure.
And I will say, like, my team really wants to push this as well. And we are going to be taking a lot more of we're going to try to be more active in the marketing space in Hedera, because this is something that my team doesn't actually have a lot of experience or panache for. But we recently, Tuesday, we announced that we're teaming up with Infinity, who've been doing a ton of podcasts in the space. And we're going to be doing more content. We're going to be reaching out to the community. This tweet here that I've posted here is our announcement tweet, but also we're going to be starting some HashPack spaces starting, I think, in 2 weeks from now. And it's going to be an open call to the community to come in and talk about your spaces. And the idea is that we're starting with, and it will change as we go on for what's effective or not. But the idea is that we want people to come in and show their platform that they're building, like give us a video walkthrough of it, or show the creator project that you're building, and talk about things, and basically just involve the community more, and let's build some more connections with each other. So if you have a project and you've got something that you want to show off, just come and reach out, because we want to build this space and we want to lead by example. So that's just like my ending little comment there.
All hands on deck. I think that, it's that psychology of buy low, sell high. It's like, hey, now's the time to dive in. Now's the time to roll up your sleeves. The opportunity is here. And now's the time to get energized. It's the opportunity to really elevate so many people. And, you know, I'm excited about that. I had King Solomon on the show. I think the first video episode that I did, and Genfinity is doing great stuff. So huge shout out to them. But May, very much appreciate it. You stopping by, and
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you kind of do some more knockouts in karate combat soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, that's the best marketing. Like, just really putting stuff out there and putting the community out there. So very much appreciate it. And thanks for stopping by the show.
All right. Thank you. See you.
Take care. Awesome stuff. It's so good to have projects stop by the show, and also to have May stop by the show. I think that, you know, HashPack and May in particular are just, you know, so connected to this ecosystem, and really kind of help onboard people and do some of that taste making. And this is true for, you know, so many other projects. Like, I was just on a Spaces today with Pluto from HashPack, and then also like Kabila and Blade Wallet, and you know, and then I have people stopping by the show, Bonzo Finance, and all this kind of stuff. And that's, I think, what really separates the top tier projects, right? I think that sense of, it's not even just being humble. It's just having that higher calling of, like, not only, I don't just want to grow my project, I want to, you know, Lehman says this, you know, the inventor of the Hashgraph is like growing the pie, right? Like, what can we do to create the garden in which to grow the future for all these things? And the harsh reality is that it takes everybody to do that. And the time to do that is right now. And, I think that through everything and through all the noise and all the energy, I really feel optimistic as well. And so I think that's really fantastic. I know that we're going to have Warlock and Key stop by the show soon. I know he has he's got some news about something. Let me shoot him a message and see if he can stop by. I'd love to figure out what he wants to share. But before that, it was funny. Through the conversation with May, I actually managed to already talk through a couple of the stories I wanted to talk about. So that was pretty great. What I will do, though, is we mentioned Rob Allen and the Governing Council and some really positive things and stuff like that. I want to share a clip for everybody from the HBAR Bulls show, the recent episode. I think that Shark Bites is one of the most important content pieces, or the most important content piece in the ecosystem right now, right? Shark Bites is Rob Allen, a governing council member who worked at the Hashgraph Association. He worked at the HBAR Foundation, and he started out as just an HBARbarian in Telegram. And so I think that he really is the most like holistic representation of the ecosystem and community. And he just, you know, talks to people, you know, every week for, you know, 20 minutes or half an hour. And it's always full of so many great insights. And I wanted to just quickly share a clip, and then I'm thinking we're going to have, you know, Warlock call in. But I'm not hearing back from Warlock, but I'm starting to get strange signals in the broadcast. So I don't quite know what's happening, but we'll have to see. And I want to play this clip, and I just wanted to kind of highlight a couple things here, but I think this was a very, very interesting clip. Make of it what you will. Let's check it out.
Give some props to a team member within the Hedera ecosystem that has done a fantastic job up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't realize that I had not name-checked Alice Kim when I mentioned Hyundai. Those of you who've kind of watched Shark Bites for some time probably know that Alice is the foundation member that I give the most name checks to. And there's a reason for that, because I honestly think she's one of the hardest working members of the HBAR Foundation. In fact, I worked with her quite closely on the stablecoin pilot with Shinhan Bank and all the others. She's an awesome person. She has actually, I would say that she's probably the hardest working, most trustworthy, most loyal member of the HBAR Foundation. And you know, if she's ever looking for a job, I'll be the first at the front of the queue to offer her something, I think. So anyway, thanks, Alice, and apologies for not giving you another name check last week.
She's been integral to the Hyundai use case, Nada Slime World. Of course, we just covered that recently. The Shinhan stuff that you
LG.
mentioned, and of course LG as well.
In fact, the whole of the Korean ecosystem is largely based on her efforts. So give her a promotion. Why don't you, Shane?
Whoa. So make of it what you will, but definitely Rob Allen, I think tapping into something there. And I think that there is the theme here with opportunity cost is it's very clear that there are some incredible resources and talent that might be going underutilized. And a strange twist of events here. I don't know exactly what's happening, but we have Gerbert the GRELF here, like just out of nowhere. I was supposed to be scheduled for Warlock to stop by to talk about some news or something, but great to have you in the stream is a little unexpected.
Why would you want to talk to him?
Well, I mean, I watched his bit on the HBAR Bulls show last week, and I mean, it was pretty amazing. So I mean, I don't know if you were on the HBAR Bull show last week, but
I don't think that that HBAR Bull guy likes me. Maybe this isn't the best forum for that, but I think I don't think he likes me. He's never had me on, not once.
Oh, well, I mean, to be fair, Gerbert, I mean, it's every week at this point that you're stopping by the show. So, I mean, if you're going to be stopping by once again, I mean, I'm really hoping that you have something juicy to share with everybody.
Well, do I ever? Some guy told me these things, and I'm going to relay them to you because I am the spokesman for the GRELF token. And I'm not reading something off of my screen right. Hold on a second. Now, okay. So hey, big news. GRELF, which you may have heard of as just the premier crypto current sneeze on the Hedera network, is gonna be open for trading on the centralized exchange coin store on July 10th, baby. So that's pretty soon.
That is pretty soon. That's actually big news. I mean, I just was talking to May earlier, and we were talking about how important it is for these coins to get out there on other exchanges. And so what you're saying is that your crypto is also going to be one of those as well.
Yeah. You can do deposits now. Actually, I would have been faster with the specific date, but this is the first HTS that they're integrating on CoinStore. They don't even have HBAR on there, so it's like the first Hedera token period to hit CoinStore.
Okay, so let me think here. So what that means, I guess, is now that they're adding GRELF, I guess it's going to be easier for them to add other cryptos from Hedera.
Yeah, they already had to do all the hard techno stuff, and they kept asking me, what does this mean? And I kept saying, I don't know. And they kept saying, but we don't know. And then I just sent them someone who was smart.
Gotcha. Well, that's incredibly exciting. This is really what we're talking about is really putting Hedera out there and making all of this wonderful soup available to everybody. I love that. I love that. And so that's a big milestone. And I think the question on everyone's mind, Gerbert, is on July 10th and going on, what's next for the future? We're talking about the next 6 months for Hedera, but when we look at the next 6 months for GRELF, where is your head at? Where's your brain at in the next 6 months for GRELF?
Well, this is a really good starter exchange. And something with meme coins is, people are a little skittish about listing. So it's good to have some history. It's good to have some volume on a smaller exchange first before you go up to the big boys and they say, this is a weird, ugly, bald guy token. Why would we put this on there? It's kind of spooky. I'm scared. I'm afraid. there's someone outside my house right now knocking. That's typically every conversation you have with a centralized exchange goes the same way. They're very paranoid people. But
Gotcha.
basically, the next 6 months is having fun, doing more things that I like to do, using the GRELF brand, whatever it is, to reach more people. Get more eyes on old Hedera, because maybe the boring stuff doesn't thrill them. Maybe the weird stuff will. And get on more exchanges, get biggers, get strongers, and basically just have a good old time. Somebody's got to have a good old time on Hedera. I mean, come on.
I love it. I think that's the key. Fun. We talk about all sorts of things. TPS. What about FUN? What about fun? I like that.
I
think
like
that's
fun.
Who doesn't? I mean, maybe there's people that don't. Have you ever, that's maybe a question. Have you ever encountered somebody who doesn't like fun?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. A lot. Between you and me.
Okay.
Don't tell anyone this.
I won't.
Keep this between us is what I'm saying here.
Okay.
Some people on Hedera, they don't like fun. No.
On this network? Like with
On this very network, some people don't like fun. Some people are like, SaucerSwap, it should be gray rectangle swap. Aliens, that's silly. What are we playing, a baby game here? It should be briefcase swap, or maybe tax season swap.
Interesting.
They don't like it.
I didn't know.
They're scared. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, thank you. Like, I'll keep that between us. I don't need to, let everyone
Thank
know.
goodness, because they don't like me either. They're not a fan. They're not a fan. They say, well, that doesn't make any sense. As if that means anything in crypto.
Yeah.
None of this makes any sense.
Yeah. We're not here for the cents. We're here for the dollars. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
We
Gerbert,
like money.
we do like money.
We do.
And what I would say, unfortunately, I do have to start winding down the show soon. I actually have a meeting, but Gerbert, I really appreciate you stopping by. At first I was like, what is going on? Someone's like, just, he's coming on the show for the friggin' sixth time or whatever, but you deliver, like you had some alpha to deliver. I think that was fantastic. So July 10th,
July 10th, baby.
It's going down. Coin store. I love it. Gerbert, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I love it. I mean, repeat guests coming back with juicy tips and news. I mean, what more could you ask for? I dig it. So, I hope Jake's doing okay. He said he was going to come on, but I haven't heard from him. So, I mean, it was great that GRELF stopped by, but we'll see what's going on. So, Jake, if you're out there, hope you're doing okay. What else we got going on? What other stories I have to talk about? The quick shout out to Earthlings. Earthlings just put out a little game on the Apple App Store, which was kind of interesting to see. It's called Steam Run, or let me see here. It's called. So I just downloaded it. It's like a bazillion gigabytes. But look at this. Steam Runner by Earthlings on the App Store. That's a Hedera project on the Apple App Store with a game. They're working on stuff. So when we're talking about, highlighting successes in the ecosystem, I mean, we're making it to the Apple App Store. And I mean, I got to get Earthlings on the show. That'd be an interesting conversation. Gaming. I love that. What else we got going on? You know what? I want to end the episode on some positive vibes here, because I'm feeling, I don't know. I don't know if people were following my Twitter on the weekend, but I was definitely posting some saucy things. But when you really pull back, there was a couple great things that I bookmarked that I thought were pretty cool. I saw this post by Crypto Mason, or yeah, Mason. Anyone in the Hedera community is familiar with Mason, but I mean, HBAR is up 55% this year, doing better than most stocks. I mean, we often compare HBAR to other cryptos and all the different things happening, but like when you really zoom out and then zoom out again, and maybe you are an enterprise or a business person, it's like, as an asset, I think that I got some audio playing on my speakers. Hold on. I just had some random audio start playing on my speakers. I think it was a clip of me fighting in karate combat. Sorry, I don't know if anyone could hear it on the broadcast. I was like, wait, what's playing? What tab is that in? But yeah, this is a great tweet. Also, we also had this interesting chart posted. I would love to have some people, by the way, stop by on the show with some technical analysis. There are quite a few folks in the ecosystem that are really, really great at doing technical chart analysis for HBAR, and I think that now's the time to start doing that. But I wanted to highlight this right here from Crypto Troll. No DM. Okay, so this is kind of a bit of a move here, putting no DM in your Twitter handle. That's pretty hardcore. I like that. They basically post this chart and they say volume oscillator, lowest levels in history, and then they also have what it looks to be the RSI indicator as well. These are two indicators that really kind of show if something's kind of oversold. And we're really kind of bottoming out here. So there's that. And then I also think that I wanted to kind of give a shout out to I wonder if I can find them, because they had some really great technical analysis and I wanted to get them on the show. I think their username is like HBAR Whoa Dude or something like that. I don't know if I'm be able to find them. But anyways, my point is I would love to get more technical analysis and stuff like that on this show. I think it'd be really great. But yeah, I think that wrapping up the episode today, we talk about, the theme of the episode being, opportunity cost, right? And we've talked about, we really dove into that pretty extensively in the conversation with May. And it's really, I think, what we've been talking about for not just last month, but for a long time. And it just is something that any company will struggle with in the technology industry, not just crypto networks, but also, also enterprises, startups, even out, any business, is when you look at opportunity costs, what that means is you decided to do something and it's costing you opportunity. And the issue is when you don't realize it, right? If you aren't plugged in, you don't realize it. And that's, I think, the struggle here is a lot of people have felt that Hedera and these organizations aren't aware of the opportunity cost, right? That's a common phrase of like, you got to be aware of the opportunity cost. And what that means is communication. And that is the change, I think, that that folks want to see, is they want to really wake up to this opportunity cost. And I think that understanding it, taking advantage of it, and like I said, fully utilizing this ecosystem and really doubling down on the money makers, right? We know that enterprise and all this kind of stuff is going to make the network a bunch of money years from now or whatever. But right now, getting into a really great position and doing some of the things that other networks have been doing, there is just some very exciting stuff right in front of us. And if you're looking at it from the perspective of Hedera, from a governing council member, I think that really is what we're doing, is we're saying like, hey, look at this, right? This is a very big opportunity here for all sorts of different things, for adoption, revenue generation for the network, awareness for the brand, all sorts of different things. And the amazing part is it's stuff that is really easy to do you know, and if it's not easy for Hedera, there are people here that can accomplish it. It's not that expensive, and it's stuff that can happen like super quick. And so I think that's really where the community is. And I mean, we're talking about all sorts of different things. I know I was whining about, you know, the Karate Combat ad and all those types of things. I think that that's really what it comes down to, is that's what we're talking about, is we really want to see Hedera navigate the risks with these opportunity costs and really wake up to the fact that the approach isn't necessarily conservative or risk averse that Hedera is taking. It's turned out that it's actually quite risky. And I think that to de-risk the project a little bit, I think that that requires more active communication with the network's customers, and really focusing on the startups and projects and retail activity. You know, as May was saying, taking ideas that are working, use them for ourselves. And there's a flip side to this, right? There is a flip side to this. I can say, till I'm blue in the face, you know, we need change, we need this, we need that. But again, reminding people that I do think that those things have been heard over time. I do think that change is happening. We've seen leadership switch ups, all that kind of stuff. So I do think that it's happening. I think that it's just about closing that gap of knowledge and information, right? It's about closing those communication gaps. And we're kind of starting to see that happen. And I think the best way to approach it is, really, you know, mapping out all these things that we want Hedera to do and going, can we do that for ourselves even more, right? Can we do that, you know, for our own retail ecosystem? And that's an attitude that I'm seeing kind of take hold. And I think that that is going to be something that's really powerful. That's the stuff, you know, that leads to, you know, organization or groups like the Hashgraph working group, the Hashgraph DeFi Alliance, going to the governing council and presenting and opening eyes and kind of saying like, oh, wow. So kudos to openness on the organization's end, and kudos to, you know, the retail community for stepping up to the plate. And I think that, you know, the big fear here for a lot of people that have been here for a long time is like, we've been told this over and over and over again. Is this just a repeat of last time? You know, and I think, you know, there's a meme that pops in my head, that Office meme with Michael Scott, where he's like, you know, I'm ready to get hurt again, you know? And I think that it sounds cliche, but it will be different this time, right? Because it is different people, it's different structures. And it's a completely different ecosystem with so many different parts to it that have been desperately needed that we just have now. And the breadcrumbs and rumors that we're seeing are showing signs of optimism. And when you talk to the leading projects in the network, the ones that have the most to risk are incredibly optimistic. So you really kind of think and you go, you know, is this a huge problem or is this a huge opportunity? I think it's a huge opportunity. And I think that the risk here is making sure that, you know, these organizations realize it. And that's what it's about, opportunity cost and navigating it and figuring it out. And just really appreciate everybody tuning in, supporters of the show, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to have some exciting updates coming to the show soon, and just improving a bunch of stuff. And, you know, more guests. You know, I'm hoping to get some cool folks on the show this month. And a reminder to everybody, you know, anyone can call into this show. Sometimes I have guests that, you know, we want to, you know, get on there and stuff like that. But I think that, you know, getting people more comfortable tuning in is going to be great. We got a question. Is there any place to stake HBAR? Yeah. You can stake HBAR on Stater, I think. And then also there's native HBAR staking. I mean, the reward rate is not, you know, great. But you can stake HBAR as well. And you don't actually have to give up custody of your HBAR. You can just do it right inside your wallet. Oh my God. Again, calling in Gerbert. What's going on? What did we forget to do?
Hey, I just wanted to know, did you talk about the Chainlink thing?
Yeah, I did at the beginning. I saw the post on X. I mentioned it that someone spotted the activity on GitHub, and you know, it's very interesting. I don't know what it's going to lead to, but looking at the tweet.
They're going to be integrated. I mean, it's not just a GitHub thing that they're working on it. This is something that's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, within the next few months. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So that's very exciting, because I think that's what a lot of people are seeing. And again, I'm someone that when I see these kind of things pop up, I don't want to jump on it too heavy, but I mean,
you should jump on it. Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing from people. That's what I'm hearing from people.
Yeah, a little salamander came up to my window the other day, and he said, Sergey's going to bring us monies. Really? I didn't know what it meant, but apparently Sergey is just the guy behind Chainlink. Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. It's good to know we've got an official source on this. I love it.
Yes, I'm the official source. I'm confirming now. Hedera is finally getting Chainlink integration within the next few months. And you should look at the correlations between chains that integrate Chainlink and how their TVL operates afterwards. You know, there's a very high correlation between big boy increases in total value lock for those who, don't operate off of constant algorithms acronyms that are made every single day in crypto. A lot of monies, right? It's a very good thing.
Very true. Okay, I dig it. I mean, I saw the stuff on my feed. I'm hearing a couple things, and now you coming on here, especially with your source. I mean, it's pretty clear that an enterprise governing council member is going to be building something substantial on Hedera, and it's going to be sooner rather than later. So I think that is very, very exciting news. So Gerbert, thank you for popping back in again with the alpha.
They might even attend some governing council meetings too. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
I don't have confirmation from a salamander on that.
Okay.
We don't know if that's completely confirmed, but they are going to be integrating on Hedera, and it's very good because I don't know about you, but I need a little sunshine up in here.
I dig it. Well, I mean, you've got an open window back there. Maybe you got some fresh air, but I mean, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Well, more sunshine in the Hedera area, if you know what I mean. Don't tell anybody, but everybody's been kind of really mad about stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that. We'll keep it between us, but yeah.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. I don't think they know.
They don't. They have no idea.
All right. Bye.
Anyways, take care. Thank you, Will. Good stuff. Well, with that, what an episode. It was great to have May stop by. It was great to have Gerbert stop by. And it sounds like some very, very exciting things are happening. We got some solid sources. We got the proof. We got the rumors. We got the breadcrumbs. It's happening. I'm very excited. I mean, shout out to everyone here. I mean, the reality is if you're here right now and you have been and you're building in Hedera, you're a winner in my mind. So appreciate everyone stopping by. Hello, future. Goodbye, past.
Thanks for listening to the Hashgraph Enthusiast Show, hosted by Brandon Davenport.
Listen to past episodes and support the show at itsbrandond.com/HBAR.